Hey guys, I'm going to take a few minutes to answer some questions that people had about my new bumper. First of all, a lot of people asked about the winch. The winch is the M12000 series from Warn. If you're not familiar with the Warn winch line, the M12000 or the M series is considered the heavyweight series of Warn's winch lineup. It is definitely more on the commercial grade side of things. It's a massive winch. If you compare it to like the VR series, it weighs almost twice as much and is significantly larger. It also has a much bigger drum and motor. So this is a incredibly stout winch. It's the same winch I had on my 2016 F450. I know a lot of people ask that question as well. We simply transferred it to this truck. Another question is, what's the benefit of going with a synthetic cable over a steel cable? Really, a lot of it comes down to safety and convenience and weight. The synthetic cable weighs less than half as much as the steel cable. The likelihood of it snapping and causing injury is much less. If you have a problem with the cable, such as a fray in it, you don't really have to worry about it slicing through your hand. And when you're rolling the cable up, as it stacks, it doesn't stack like a steel cable where it can start piling up on one side of the winch or the drum assembly and causing you problems. So synthetic's really the route to go. Another commenter made a note that if you use synthetic cable, you really don't want it to be exposed to UV because it can wear the cable out prematurely. In the case of this Ranch Hand bumper, it is protected and pretty much concealed from the sunlight by the bumper itself. Another question people had related to the bumper, they said the bumper looked thin, and I thought I made the point in the previous video. The bumper is designed specifically for an F250, 350 without the wide track front axle that the F450 has. However, CNS made those little extensions so it would fit the profile of the 450 and 550 truck, which doesn't sell nearly as many volume-wise as the 250 and 350, so that's one of the reasons Ranch Hand hasn't produced a bumper specific to the width of the 450. Another question was if I'm going to be putting shackles on the front. I am. I'm actually getting some isolators and some protectors that keep them from banging up against the bumper, so that'll be going on whenever they arrive. Several people ask, how much does this assembly weigh? The front bumper is about 180 pounds before the winch. When you add the winch adds about 130 pounds of weight to the bumper assembly. Does it really have an effect on fuel mileage? Not that I've ever noticed. Even when I had my Sport Series on the previous truck, it was significantly heavier, over 100 pounds heavier, and I still didn't see any type of significant drop in miles per gallon of that truck either. Some folks ask, do I actually plan on using the winch? So unlike a lot of people, I actually use my winch. I've used this specific winch probably 12.5 times. On this specific truck, I haven't used it at all yet, but I use it quite often, and I use it for various different things, from pulling people out of things to pulling things out of the ground to moving objects around. It really comes in handy as long as you try to find a use for it. If you feel that you don't need a use for a winch, then a lot of people will never use one if they have it. But in my case, I try to find ways that I can use the winch. It not only gives me a little bit better return on my investment, but it also makes things really easy if you know how to use it appropriately. Regarding the cost of the bumper's about $1,700 for just the bumper. The winch that's in there is about a $1,600 winch. The back bumper is about a $1,300 rear bumper. So, you know, everything added up together, you're probably looking at about $4,500, $5,000 roughly for everything if you wanted to get it and installed. If you want to add paint to it, you're probably looking another $700, $800 for both the front and rear bumper to paint it. And then another cost, of course, is the cost of the paint. So the ruby red metallic is a very expensive paint, similar to the white platinum tri-coat that you can get. So the cost of paint is going to be an additional cost on top of all of that. Some people asked why I didn't go with an 18,000 pound winch or 16.5. Really, because I didn't need it. You know, in 99% of cases, a 12,000 pound winch is going to be more than enough for anything you'd need to do. Anything above that, you really don't want to hook to the front of your vehicle if you need 16,500 pounds or 18,000 pounds worth of pulling strength. It just doesn't make sense. Plus, again, this winch being as large as it is and designed for heavyweight applications, even though it's only a 12,000 pound winch, it probably will outperform most other 12,000 pound winches on the market. I wanted to give you a better profile shot from down here as well. Anyways, guys, I hope I answered most of the questions you had. If you have additional questions, feel free to leave them in the comment line below. If you haven't had a chance, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. Thanks, everyone.